Hello everybody, welcome back to a video. In today's video, I'm going to go over the catalog flashback series for Eggstravaganza 2010 on Roblox Part 2. So yeah, let's get started. And this is basically a series where I go over a past event or update on the catalog that I thought was pretty exciting, and it's nice to go look back on older events for nostalgia's sake and whatnot, because it might be some of the best memories that we might have had on the platform. And in Part 1, I went over the original eggs that released alongside the April release. But in Part 2, now I'm going to go over the summer released eggs, the contest they hosted, as well as some of the gears that they made as a part of this event. So over here we do have one of the summer eggs, Fiery Egg of Testing. It definitely has that kind of sword fights on the heights game kind of look to it, with that fire around the ring with a black egg. So it looks pretty interesting. This one ended up going limited just like a lot of the other ones. It's selling for around 1,200, which is also like a lot of the other ones. So that's pretty nice. And there were two ways to get this. You were able to get it if you played Swords of Fights in the Heights during the egg drop test, as they once again tested the egg drop before released in summer, but they wanted to do it in one game to see if it worked, and they tested it in Swords of Fights in the Heights. So you were able to get it there if you were able to test with them, or you were able to just get it when it spawned regularly like a lot of the other eggs. Next up over here we have Extinct Egg of Dino on Ice. This one is not limited, and for looks, it looks kind of like the Yoshi egg. If any of you have played Super Mario, it's definitely very reminiscent of that kind of style. And to get this one, you had to break the ice that was around it when it spawned. So you definitely had to have some sort of gear or weapon that was able to break the ice, or if there was another method by just jumping on it, then you're able to break it that way. And next up over here we have Starry Egg of the Wild Ride. This one's pretty interesting, kind of like a blue egg with white stars, very reminiscent of the USA flag. This one's selling for around 1,200, just like a lot of the other ones. And in order to get this one, you had to ride the egg as it flew pretty fast around the map, and you couldn't fall off, you just had to ride it for a few seconds in order to actually get it. So that was pretty interesting, and it was a pretty creative task that is pretty different from a lot of the other ones. Now next up over here we have Xeno's Egg of Paradox. This is pretty interesting, has that kind of neon shattered mirror look to it, which is pretty nice. Once again, around 1,200, just like a lot of the other ones. And this one has a similar objective to that of the Wanwood egg from 2 years prior to this, as it spawned in pretty big. You had to wait until it became normal size, but if you touched it when it was big, it would slow you down gradually until somebody eventually collected the egg. Now next up over here, we have the Crimson Egg of Nemesis. This is pretty cool. It's like a dark red egg. It has some splotches of red in there. It has some white, some gray. And this was one of the harder objectives of an egg. It had rockets around it, and you had to avoid those rockets and get the egg while it was in the air. And that had to be a pretty fast process in order to actually get it before it disappeared. So this was probably one of the rarest ones, if not the rarest, apart from the Fabergés in this event, but unfortunately it's not limited, so you can't really get it. But if it were to go limited, it probably would be one of the highest selling ones. Now next up, they did release two more Fabergé eggs from this event. They have the hot pink Fabergé egg and the golden Fabergé egg of Hive Mind. The hot pink one did end up going limited, and this is actually the one that is selling the most out of all the eggs from this event, and it has the biggest price gap right over there. You can see it jumps from 7,000 to 32,000. So this was definitely probably one of the rarest from this event. And they had the same objective as the other Fabergé eggs. It would only spawn pretty rarely in full servers. But this one was selling for a lot more, so I might assume that the two ones that they added for July might have been a bit rarer than the other three. But this one is not available right now, but it is a pretty creative Fabergé egg. The other four are just retextures of each other, but this one has that beehive look to it, so that's pretty unique. It's unfortunate that it did not end up going limited, so you can't get it. Next up, we do have the Crossroads Improvement Project Contest, which was a contest they released during the April release for the egg hunt. And basically what you had to do for this was to improve the Crossroads map that Roblox created and add something nice and exciting to it. And there were 4 different eggs you could receive from this event. There were eggs you can receive from having high rated places or voting accurately, and 3 of them were from having a high rating and a place. First one, which was the easiest, was the Dust Guy of Crossroads, and was rewarded by getting 1,450 or higher on a rating, followed by the Arbus Verdant Egg of Leafiness, which needed 1,650 or higher, and the last one was Boil a Gay Egg of Beautiful Dreams, which needed a rating of 1,900 or higher. So this one's pretty interesting, kind of a bit dull in color, but it's like a dark blue and a green, kind of looks like the earth almost, but pretty interesting. Not too many owners because a lot of the people did not really participate in these contests back then, so these were much rarer than the ones that dropped randomly. The next one was the Arborist Verdant Egg of Leafiness. This one's a pretty cool one. It's like black with a lot of different green textures all over it, kind of looks like a leaf, as the title says, and this was the second hardest one in terms of ratings for your builds. And the last one was this one, which is a retexture of this red one they released earlier, the Dark Crimson Egg, so it's just a purple variant of that one. So if you were not able to get the red one, or if you're not able to get the purple one, you still had another color variant you were able to get. And the last one from this contest was the Violent Pig Egg of Violent Opinions, and this one was awarded by having a voting accuracy of 80% or higher. So I wasn't here in this event, but I assume you had to vote on players' builds, and the closer you were to the average rating from people, the more points you would get. So that's how I assume it went. That sounds like how they would do this or how they would approach it. And for its appearance, it's a pretty bright pink. It kind of has that similar style to the chest egg from 2 years prior to this. It has all the patterns on top and then it has the lines on the side. This one's a pretty cool one, but unfortunately none of these contest eggs did end up being limited, so they're all off sale. So if you're able to participate in the contest and you won the eggs, you will still have them today. And next, I wanted to go over some gears they released for this event. All 5 of these gears are no longer available, so they were available for the majority of the event, and they took them off sale along with ending the event. And this first one was Eggstravaganza 2010. It's kind of this little phone-like object with a little bunny. It's pink, it looks pretty nice, and it was able to show what eggs were currently spawned in that game. So if you were looking for any specific egg, you would use this gear and you would see if it would spawn in that game. So I think it was pretty helpful. Yeah, you can definitely see similar things like trackers in many fan-made egg hunts. And next up we have the egg compass, which this one would point to the rarest egg in the game. So for example, if there was a Fabergé egg in that game, it would point towards that Fabergé egg, so you just have to walk to it. And using a lot of these gears together would be very helpful. Like for instance, if you used the egg identifier, you saw there was something rare that you wanted, now you would be able to use the compass in order to actually go ahead and follow it. Next up was the egg magnet, and this one was able to attract magnetic eggs to where you were. And a lot of the eggs in their name kind of imply that they're magnetic. Rusty egg of magnetism literally has magnet in the last word of the name, so a lot of those magnetic eggs are able to be just brought to you using this gear, which is pretty fun. But then next up we have Magic Bunny and Bad Bunny. These are pretty similar to each other. One is like a brown evil variant of it, and this one is like a white happy variant of it. And if you own the Magic Bunny, this one would allow you to jump higher in game, which is pretty helpful for a lot of the eggs that were in the air. And this one would help spawn fake explosive eggs. So if you spawn an egg and someone touched it, they ended up exploding. So this is just a little gear that you could use to troll other people that might have been looking for eggs. So yeah, that was part 2 of this Eggstravaganza 2010 event. I think it was overall a pretty great event. Didn't get the chance to participate in it. I think that looking through this, it seemed like a pretty fun event, waiting for eggs to fall and seeing if anything rare spawned and racing others to get to the eggs. So this definitely would have been something that many people would have enjoyed. And yeah, if you do want to see me go over another catalog flashback or any sort of event or update that happened on the catalog, please let me know in the comment section and I'll do my best to go over in the upcoming weeks. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.